Hello and welcome back to Elevated and Meaningful. Today, I'm going to talk about a historical perspective of the world that is not necessarily the way that we're taught in our history books in classrooms, high school, whatever, college, university. Um, so it's a very interesting perspective. I think it makes a lot of sense when we look at the world in the way that I'm going to describe it. This view comes from the Baha'i writings, the Baha'i perspective of history and the purpose of religion and the evolution of humanity. I'm going to try to make this short and to the point. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to respond to them under my video. So basically, the way that we view the world in the Baha'i faith is, ever since Adam and Eve, obviously, in the writings of Baha'u'llah, who founded the Baha'i faith, he says that before Adam and Eve, there were people on planet Earth. So the Earth is very old. But in my understanding, something happened at that time, like a catastrophe of some kind. And they weren't very good at record keeping at that time. And Baha'u'llah says just because there was no record of that time doesn't mean it didn't exist. So it existed pretty much. And Adam and Eve, the way I understand it, Adam was the first, let's just say, messenger from God, or a prophet, or a manifestation of God. Those individuals are chosen by God to basically carry God's message to humans for whatever brief period of life they have. Basically, they make the will of God known to man during their lifetime, not through just words, but also through their action. So Adam was the first one at this cycle. We call it the Adamic Cycle. And then from Adam until, let's say, Abraham, there were many messengers between the two. And during Abraham, I believe that record keeping was becoming easier, and human beings were developing the ability to have language and record keeping and all of this stuff. And so Abraham, I would say between Adam and to Abraham, I don't know, several 100,000 years. And then Abraham started the Abrahamic Cycle, okay, which was the covenant that he was promised between his future offsprings, and that through the same lineage between Abraham and on, that there would be future prophets and messengers or chosen ones who would bear the message of God to humans. And so all this time, messages from God have been coming to humans. As you could see, that it was never final, okay? Even though I would say in religion, people take their faith and say that this is final. They like to have the sense of finality about their faith. And, like Christians say, Christ is the only way. And the Muslims say that after Prophet Muhammad, there is no more prophets. But history begs to differ, because it's recorded. We know that before Muhammad was Christ, before Christ was Buddha, which we believe was also a messenger from God for the Indians, and now for the Asian hemisphere. And before Buddha was many others, and then before that was Moses, and before Moses, Abraham. So it shouldn't be a surprise that we've had these line of prophets that over the ages have been guiding humans toward heavenly attributes and qualities, and embody like God-like attributes, and to embody those and make the world a better place for all of us. And God's purpose in sending these messengers also has been not only to elevate us from away from animalistic nature of greed, apathy, hate, anything that's negative, that belongs to the animal, but not only to elevate us out of this animalistic tendencies to more heavenly tendencies, but also they've given us, guidance to make the world a better place. They've given us teachings that when we study and reflect and ponder and try to apply in our lives, it actually, it elevates us. That's what the teachings of God are supposed to do. And they're supposed to, in essence, bring humanity together, not divide us into different sects and divisions of different churches and different belief systems. And no, God's intent has always been the consolidation of humanity. Somehow, how can humanity come together, despite our differences, and be one human race, be one country, be one nation, be one people, one religion? So as I said, it's always been one faith, essentially one religion at the foundation. But human beings, because they like to be the ones who say, we know what's final and what's right, and you're all wrong. We have that, and that's an animalistic tendency that we have to elevate out of, and come to the conclusion that no, there's only one God, there's only one religion, and then there's only one human race, and that all of us, God is trying to reach all of us, okay, to guide all of us to build a better world together, despite what we know of in history, despite the fact that there has been war and all of these problems, does not define our true nature as noble beings created by God with a soul that's eternal. And so the other historical perspective I want to share that comes from the Baha'i faith is that this idea of transition, okay? So for a long time, ever since Adam until Abraham, and from Abraham to Muhammad, right? We've been in what we call the stage of infancy. Of course, just imagine a baby, right? It's an infant. When it's born, it's growing. It's trying to experience life. It's trying to experience the world and learn and mimic and all. It's mimic others, imitate others, until one day that child grows up, to be able to have its own ideas and original thoughts that it develops. And so what I'm trying to say is that the infant is a reflection, you could say, in the historical context of the world and humanity at large. We've gone from infancy to adolescence, okay? So what happens when you're in adolescence? Well, in adolescent stage, there's war. You get angry, you feel possessive of, give me this, give me that, that belongs to me, don't touch this, don't touch that. Of course, these tendencies are carried into maturity, but it belongs to adolescence, okay? This need to own stuff, this need to feel important, And so that's what the world is right now. We're in adolescent stage, okay? Everyone thinks that they know the truth. Everyone thinks that their faith is the right faith or religion or practice. They feel that their race is the right race and the other races are not right. And they feel like they're important and they put other people down. So this is, at large speaking, and in a sort of a worldview, human beings are adolescents in the adolescent stage, okay? So then what happens is we see the world we see today. We see problems and relationships between people. There's anger, there's hate, there's bickering, there is so many negativity that we're trying to right now as a world eventually ascend out from, okay? When we ascend from that, we reach the age of maturity. And in the age of maturity, that's when the child cannot be the adolescent anymore, because it would be shameful. You are now responsible as a mature person. with, with your thoughts, words, and actions in the world, you are now responsible for what you do. So you take things more seriously. You're careful. You're more sensitive. You do things with the thought of how is this going to impact the future generation. We don't have this world today, but that's what we're going to. Eventually, all of humanity will reach maturity, and then we will have oneness of humanity. We will have unity. We will have the most great peace one day. We will have a world of justice, okay? And it doesn't mean, this unity in the world does not mean uniformity in the Baha'i faith, It doesn't mean now all of a sudden there's going to be one culture, or customs are going to be one custom. Maybe that might happen, but I believe that we still want to remember our history, or cherish our ancestors, okay? So we want to maintain some of the cultural or traditional practices that befits, that is seemly, that is okay, you know what I mean? Like it suits the age of maturity. So like I would say the dancing, music, food, stories, these are all things that can, all the positive good things can come to this new mature stage in the mature world. The other process that is happening in the world, there's two processes in the world. One of them is the process of integration, which is what the Baha'is and the world that are like-minded people, like-minded toward this idea that I'm sharing, this building of a new world, they're all part of this integrative process in the world. Of course, this is not in the news, we don't really hear in the news the integration of humanity. It's happening. It's at a very small scale, it's happening. And it would take too long for me to describe how. But whoever is out in the world working toward justice, peace, unity, love, whether you're a Baha'i or not, you're part of this integration, okay? The other aspect of the process in the world is disintegration. So the world right now, as it is trying to come out of this adolescent age, that there's going to be a lot of catastrophic things that have to happen. That the decomposition of the old world order, kind of like the decomposition of soil, which you need the decomposition of soil. Even though it's dead, there's things living within that dead reality that are essential to give birth to new life, give birth to plants and vegetables. We need decomposition to give rise to composition. So this disintegration of humanity is going to be very painful. It is painful. You could see it in the way people are, and the lack of positive social relationships between people. Even some adults act like immature people, so people are not really growing. They're not fully developing their potentialities to be constructive members of society. They're still, on the individual levels, there's ego, there's greed, there's negativity, there's bickering between people. All of this is not worthy of a mature humanity. So what has to happen is we are going through this stage, this element of immaturity, which is part of the disintegration, and it's also elements of the adolescent stage that we're in. So we have to understand that this is just the time we're living in. There's still war between Russia and Ukraine and other parts of the world. There's still countries out against each other. And this is all part of the disintegrative process. And it has to happen. I don't know how bad things have to get for human beings to reach a level of consciousness of its moral imperative, that the moral imperative of building one world, building unity, building peace, building justice, that is unshakable and unmovable. Okay? So that I'm guessing maybe that's what has to happen. Maybe the world has to go through catastrophe at a large scale so that it recognizes its essential oneness and the need to safeguard the interests of all humanity and the planet. So this is my thoughts. I hope it's clear. If it's not, we can talk about it in the comment section. I might make another video about it to go into a little bit more detail, but it's right now 17 minutes. I don't want to go longer than this. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what your thoughts are. See you next time.